Nothing is more important than the way I feel. Powerful mantra. Today, no matter where I'm going, no matter what I'm doing, it is my dominant intent to look for that which I'm wanting to see. Everywhere I go, I want to look for things to appreciate. And I'm going to beat the drum of things to appreciate. I'm going to play the wouldn't it be nice if game. And I'm going to be one who makes the best of it. No matter where I am. No matter where I am, I will make the best of it. Can you feel the power of that? Here's how that works. So you stand wherever you're standing. Doesn't matter. Could have a terminal illness label tagged to your toe. You could have financial disaster looming, or it might have already come. The love of your life could have run off with your best friend. Doesn't matter what has happened. If you say and mean, I'm going to make the best of it, your vibration has to shift. And if you still say, I'm going to make the best of it, your vibration has to shift. Now, do not misunderstand these words. I'm going to make the best of it is different than I'm going to follow my bliss in this way. I'm going to make the best of it means I'm going to reach for the best feeling thought I can find right here, right now. And sometimes we have to tell you, it's a far cry from bliss. But when you're standing in that place that is vibrationally so different from the vibration of bliss, and you believe that your work is to find bliss right here, right now, you get so defeated because law of attraction isn't helping you at all. You don't have vibrational access to bliss from despair any more than you can hear the broadcast that's coming from the 101 FM tower on your radio dial that's set at 98.6. The frequencies have to match up. And no matter how badly you want it, if the frequencies are different, you're not going to receive clear reception. You cannot receive something that you are vibrationally not offering. So what happens sometimes, in fact, it's quite a common thing, is that you observe something, and as you observe it, you achieve vibrational harmony with what you're observing, and then you get more of what you're observing. And then you say, yep, I was right, this is reality. Sometimes you say, but the truth of it is, I shouldn't pretend, I shouldn't fantasize, I shouldn't say that it's other than it is. That's not truthful. And we say, you're creating your truths. When you see something that someone else is living, and you say, well, I need to gather a statistic about that because that is truth and that is evidence, we say, stop and think what it is evidence of. It's not evidence of the way the world works. It's not evidence of what must happen to everyone. It's not evidence of your life experience. It's evidence of that particular person's point of attraction. It's evidence of the way they offer vibration. It hasn't got anything to do with you. Your television commercials act like they don't know that. They might know it, which would make them incredibly deceiving. As they present something to you, they want to say to you, this is the evidence. 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2. Everybody, they say. And we say, they're gathering statistics that are particularly pointed to some point that they're wanting to make. And while they might be speaking truth about the evidence or truth about the statistics, it is not truth about your vulnerability or possibility, because you get to offer the vibration of your choosing. So when you say, I'm going to make the best of it, what you're saying is, I might not make it all the way to bliss today or tomorrow or even this week, but I can move from despair to something that feels less terrible. I do have access to something that is down there in that range somewhere. So what is the emotional scale anyway? On the extremes is the feeling of utter empowerment or utter disempowerment. We would say that's about as extreme as it gets. In fact, we would say that every emotion that you feel, whether it is positive or negative, is about your feeling of power or powerlessness. When you think about emotions such as despair, aren't they full of the feeling of powerlessness? Isn't guilt full of powerlessness? Even discouragement, doesn't it smack of a feeling of powerlessness? And when you think about passion or love or appreciation or joy, don't you feel all full in that feeling of power? In other words, can't you feel that your emotions are about your feeling of connecting to the source of power and well-being, or your feeling of sort of like a cork bobbing on the sea where you are powerless? So we would say to you that your emotions are all degrees of that. You can call it joy, you can call it elation, you can call it appreciation, you can call it love, but what it is, it's that feeling of empowerment. It's the feeling of being full of who you are. It's the feeling of being in such vibrational sync with the source of you, that source energy, some call it God, some call it God force, life force, is flowing fully through you. And when you are filled up like that, then you use all kinds of other lovely words like, I'm in love with you, or I appreciate you, or life is wonderful, or I am feeling passion, or I'm feeling ecstasy. You use those words, but it is a degree of your feeling of connection or not. So as we think about this sliding scale of emotions, we want you to feel it even more than we want you to say it. In other words, sometimes several people will use the same word to try to describe an emotion, and they will mean different things by that word. So it really is not the best idea for us to tell you the specific word order of these emotions, because sometimes you mean different things by the words that you use. But today we are going to talk about a spattering of these emotional words, just to give you a sense of how they fit into this emotional scale. And we want you to remember, as you are leaving this gathering, that the only thing that is important to you is that you find ways of moving up this emotional scale. In other words, you're wanting to move as close as you can into full connection. We also want you to no longer feel uncomfortable when you are not there. In other words, do not condemn yourself or condemn negative emotion. You do not look at the empty gas gauge on your vehicle and get so angry because of the negative indicator that you just beat it out of the dashboard. Nor do you put a happy face sticker on it, trying to cover it up. In other words, you don't pretend that the tank is full when it is empty, because the indicator matters to you, doesn't it? So your emotions are the same way. Your emotions matter to you, and the indication that they give you is of extreme importance to you, because they indicate how much life force you're allowing right now or not.